Very excited to just. We have some good back and forth. We during the pandemic we did some videos for Fox Sports that
yes we did
went viral arguing Damian Lillard. So Rick and I love some sparring, but I don't know. Game 4 tonight. Do the Mavericks steal one? Do you even care, or are you on to the offseason?
Of course
already?
I care, because for some of the reasons that you've stated, like where do we put this Boston Celtics team? And a sweep in the finals. When was the last time a Western Conference team was swept? I want to say it was Detroit. I mean, we're going back prior to when I've never covered an NBA Finals where a Western Conference team was swept.
That's a great point.
So, again, but what does that mean? Does that automatically anoint a team as being an all-time great, as you are suggesting? And I can't go there. Yeah. Look, have we underestimated the Boston Celtics? Have we not given them their just due? I would say that is fair. But I'm not going to look at the regular season record or the margin of victory or the net rating or any of those things and say, this is an all-time great team. I would not be surprised if this is the one and only championship that this group wins, because I think that I think they're a really good team. I think they are a very well-built team, but I also believe that they are taking advantage of a league that is in transition, that we've got the old guard of Steph Curry and LeBron James and some of the established great teams and players on their way out. And now we are looking for who's going to be the next great team. And we thought Denver was going to be dynastic. And I'm not discounting that Denver could get back into the mix and win another one. But I think what we have right now is we're going to test the popularity of the NBA when there is parity. Because I believe that right now we have 5, 6, 7 teams that could make a case that they are title contenders going into next season.
So let me drill down a little on the Celtics' greatness. And is it because the numbers say they're great and historically great? The eye test says something sort of otherwise.
Right.
So is it more of an eye test, not believing, or is there something else?
I would say that there's a combination.
Okay.
Number one, the Eastern Conference was not a good conference this year. You had 2 teams that were outright tanking, right? I mean, the 2 worst teams in the league. And if you look at the difference between top teams, the Western Conference was loaded in terms of having more teams with winning records, more teams with 50 that won 50 games across the board. So Boston was the best team in the Eastern Conference. That's inflated the numbers. But I still look at the way they're composed. Like, as of right now, if they don't have Drew Holiday, right? If they don't have Kristaps Porzingis, even for just the 2 games, I'm not sure we're here looking at a potential sweep. So do they have that nucleus? Do they have that championship caliber nucleus? I'm sure there's some people out there that are immediately going to go, well, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum deserve to be in the category of the Kobes and the Shaqs. And,
no.
Oh, really?
Are people going there?
Well, I would not be surprised if there's a sweep. Of course, the people are going to go there. Of course, they're going to go there. And to me, it's like Drew Holiday, and they remind me of the 2004 Detroit Pistons when they beat the great Lakers team, in terms of they had a collection of really, really good players whose pieces all fit, and they were willing to share the load. And defensively, they were great in a multitude of ways.
Was Rip Hamilton on that team?
Rip Hamilton was on that team. Tayshaun Prince was on that team.
Chauncey Billups?
Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, and Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups was
I think Tatum and Brown
MVP.
are better than anybody on that team. I mean, Tatum's a 3-time first-team All-NBA guy.
Okay, but how much better? My point is that it was the sum of their parts that made them great. Like, is Jason Tatum an all-time great player? Do you put him in that category? We're still debating whether he's the best player on the team.
He's like 27, 28. I don't.
He's
probably not going to win.
He's going to have a phenomenal career.
Yeah.
Is he going to win multiple He might not even be Finals MVP.
He won't. I think it's probably Brown, right?
It's right now. The odds are that Brown's going to be MVP.
This fits the narrative of the 2015 Warriors.
See, I know. You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up.
Good. Because you remember who won finals of that? That was Andre Iguodala.
That was Andre Iguodala.
For his defense on LeBron, and it was defense. LeBron still went off.
And the one thing that look, and I live in the Bay Area, so I've had to live with this. If they don't get Kevin Durant, they're not a dynasty.
Yeah,
if they
agreed,
don't
yeah.
get Kevin Durant, they don't win back-to-back championships and 3 out of in 4 years.
But
They don't do all that they did. So if you're comparing the Boston Celtics to that 2015 Golden State Warriors team, are they going to become dynastic without the insertion of a Kevin Durant type player? Can they, as is, and keep in mind that the way the NBA salary cap is now structured, it is so punitive. I mean, it's almost impossible unless you want to give away your money. It's impossible to keep a great team together. It's so, like, the amount of tax that you pay just keeping it together is extraordinary. And the Boston Celtics, if they want to keep this group together, they're going to have to do that.
They have him one more year for sure. And then Tatum's salary skyrockets.
Yes.
Drew Holiday's kind of getting in his mid-30s, but he's essentially like Draymond Green-ish without the noise and cheap shots and punches and all that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he guard anybody. He's been
Drew Holiday has been indispensable. I mean, he's not going to win MVP, but man, if you had a most indispensable player, what Drew Holiday has done, because Game 3, Drew Holiday's not there to calm the waters, to say, hey, don't worry, we're down by 1. I got Kyrie Irving. I'll go and get Derek White an open 3. Like, we're going to be okay, right? If you don't have that, I'm not sure we're looking at a 3-0 series. Right?
I would largely agree. One more thing on the Celtics.
That is Stokes. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I agree.
He agrees.
We agree sometimes.
How often does that?
We agree sometimes.
Soak that in.
Write this date
Soak
down.
that in. Write it down. Remember
exactly.
it.
Here's my thing. So we're watching a Celtics team that's switchable on the perimeter. Defensively, they're not doubling Luka. Luka keeps driving into the lane. He's like, shucks, I can't get over this length. PJ Washington's not open. They don't really have much. How many teams around the league are going to look at the way the Celtics are built, similarly to those Warriors, and be like, we need 3-point shooting. We need wings. Remember when the Warriors would go to the death lineup with Draymond at the 5, and it was like, oh my, and then they, it was like jump to light speed with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I just wonder, like, the guy I look at, I kept talking about Karl Anthony Towns. Do the Timberwolves move off him? I almost feel he's a Horford Porzingis type at the 5, and a guy like Rudy Gobert has less value, and you saw his less value against the Mavs. Do teams start to shape in the way Boston has? We want to play 5 out. Derek Lively, you were nice. It didn't really work in the series.
Yeah, I there is something to that for sure. And I think teams have been trying to do that. It's just Boston has perfected the art of what they've put together, and they've done it at a time where all these guys are in an age where you can kind of grow from it. So, I having 5 attacking players on the floor. I mean, honestly, it is what the Warriors' death lineup was: multiple playmakers, multiple dribble drivers, multiple shooters. The Boston Celtics have just have a new iteration of that. So but everybody's looking. Look, the Dallas Mavericks are looking for more 3-and-D quality wing defenders and a stretch 4 in the guise of Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah,
it's what you have to have, and it's the one thing that they don't have. Maxi Kleber looks terrified to be on this stage.
Yeah, I liked him.
Look, this is what happens in the finals. It goes to your role players. Like your stars basically X each other out. And then it goes down to the 5, 6, 7 spots in your rotation. And who's going to win those battles? Who's going to make a contribution? Yeah. And the Boston Celtics guys have done that.
All right, let's move to the Lakers. I think we're contractually obligated to talk Lakers every single time you're on the show. So Dan Hurley was on with Cowherd yesterday. Yes. Here's what he had to say about the Lakers coaching search in his interview.
We had some text messages, and incredible message from him over the course of the weekend. Just talking about basketball and some different things, and letting me know that if he was there in LA, that I'd have his support. And just think about that, man, like that blew my mind.
I'm a little distracted by the Batman thing on his desk. Anyway, so LeBron was texting with Danny Hurley over the weekend and dropped a, if I'm with the Lakers.
Yeah. No, I'm not buying into that. I'm not buying into that. I've never bought into the idea that he's leaving LA. I do think he will continue, and he's very good at this, maintaining his leverage by making you guess, by making you wonder. And look, if the Lakers don't find a way to acquire Bronny James, then then that opens the door. But I have no reason to. Bronny's already working out at the Lakers facility.
You saw that, yeah.
What are we? And it was the Lakers are intrigued by his athleticism.
It was a workout. Come on, Rick. Don't be a hater.
This is what are we trying to do? What are we really trying to do? Are we trying to pretend that this is not about LeBron wants to play with his son, and the Lakers want LeBron to stay in a Lakers uniform?
Well, the question
we're going to acquire Bronny one way or the other? What is this? This idea that they're scouting him and we got to determine whether we want him or not. Can we stop the foolishness?
It's all a game.
But I know, but we as media, when we try to do that with a straight face, we make ourselves look like jackasses. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, hey, you want to call anyone out? Go ahead. We're blasting the culture wars. Let's name people.
Anybody who a hit dog hollers. Anybody who may respond to that knows that they're the ones that I'm talking about.
In reality, though, there is a scenario where I don't know, Utah Jazz, Boston, whoever in the second round say we're just going to grab Bronny James and mess with the Lakers. Lakers are kind of powerless unless they take him at 17, which will be foolish. They already blew their first-round pick last year. Hood Schifino did nothing. The guy they drafted after him, Jaime Jaquez, I think, came right after Hood Schifino. Had a really good season with Miami, rotational guy. So what, you think the Lakers are backed into drafting Bronny?
I don't know if they draft him or they just sign him as a free agent, like he doesn't get drafted. I don't know how much it means to Bronny or LeBron that he gets drafted. He's not going to get drafted in the first round.
No.
It would be a second-round pick. And second-round pick now in the NBA draft is second day. I think there's almost more cachet if you were an undrafted player and they sign you, and then they can sign you to whatever they want. They're not restrained by the salary cap rules. So but all of this is really dependent on what does LeBron and Bronny want? What do they want this to look like? And that's really the only question that we have left here. And
well, wait, we don't have the coach solved. Unless you think it's a formality. Redick is the guy.
Too. What's that?
Is Redick going to automatically get the job?
It feels like he is by default. This is how this is unfolded. So they were trying to put together. Redick was their target. But they wanted to put together a staff that would work with him. As it was been described to me, they like the way that JJ thinks, that he's an out-of-the-box thinker, and obviously his relationship with LeBron. But for the same reason, they're not sure that that's going to work as the head coach of the Lakers with this roster. So they want some guys on the bench that have done this before, that can kind of help him with the basics of being a head coach, an NBA head coach. They couldn't get those. From what I understand, they were having difficulty signing or finding those guys or getting those guys to agree to come in, like a James Borrego, come in and be an assistant coach for JJ.
He could be the Cavs coach. What?
He's I'm not, and especially for the way that the Lakers pay their assistants, which is not a whole lot, it wasn't very attractive. So they were talking to a certain reporter who's very close to the Hurleys, asking, are we missing anybody? Is there somebody that we're not thinking of? And they were told, well, Dan Hurley hasn't signed his deal with UConn. And they were like, we didn't even know he was available. We didn't even think that was possible. Do you think he would consider? Well, I'll find out. So that was the connection that was made. And Hurley's looking at it thinking, well, okay, if you give me a generational type deal, if I'm going to, the Lakers are capable, an NBA team is capable of paying me far more than UConn's limited. I mean, UConn, if they're not going to, the deal that's on the table, the 6 years, 48, he's going to go above that. They're going to he's going to end up getting more as a result. He's going to get paid like Bill Self. He's going to get 10 a year. But that's really That's almost beyond the resources of UConn to do that. Yeah. They're doing it because now they're compelled to, right? The Lakers, this is my issue. I'm not convinced that Dan Hurley would have worked in the NBA. Yeah, look, you watch Tate, none of their players dribble the ball more than 3 times. Nobody stands for more than a second or 2. I don't know how you get enough NBA players to run his system. And it's in the NBA as a head coach, you don't come in with a system. You look at your personnel and go, what system do I run to fit this, right? Maybe Dan can do it, but he's never had to. So I don't know if he can. And then there's how he treats referee. There's a lot of adjustments to be made there. But if you're the Lakers and you decide Dan Hurley is the guy that we want, then you make a deal that he can't refuse.
So what, you think they should have gone to 75 mil, 100 mil?
Yes. Whatever it takes. But 70 million, he's going to get 60 million from UConn. Why? I'm going to move across the country. I'm going to upset my wife who doesn't want to leave the East Coast. I'm going to have to put up with all of the cooks in the kitchen with the Lakers. I'm probably not going to win. I'm going to put up with all of these things for an extra 10 million. I'm not doing that. Now, you give me 100 million. You give me 100 million. I can't refuse that. Yeah. I have to take that deal.
Nobody can refuse that.
Well, that's my point. So if you believe that Dan Hurley is the answer, then go get Dan Hurley.
Nobody knows if he's the answer.
You think we can get him on the cheap?
What are we doing? 11 million
You're the Lakers.
Come on.
You're the Los Angeles Lakers.
He would have been the 6th highest paid coach in the league. He hasn't coached one damn game at this pro level.
You know what? 11 the 11 mil or whatever he would have made is about at the average. I know everybody keeps putting it he'd be 6th or whatever, top 5, top 10, whatever. It's about when you take all of the salaries, it's about average.
So I would say your best argument is hey, JJ, Hurley, you're our coach. Here's the staff we're going to give you. I don't love that idea.
That was one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons. Another reason, not only are you not paying me, but you know what? We're going to have a say in terms of who's going to be on your bench.
That's not cool. I don't think that's a good one.
Dan's okay, I get to pick my coaches. I'm treated like royalty in UConn. The entire state is in love with me.
Ooh, Connecticut loves you. Wow.
I can win. That worth? And here's the other part. His ability to get a shot at another NBA job is not hurt in any way by staying at UConn. Somebody will come after him again, probably on the East Coast. Who knows? Knicks, Nets, somewhere that's more convenient. He's going to have that opportunity.
You mentioned Hurley whining. I forgot about Luka's whining in Game 3. It disappointed me. I'm a big Luka guy. So Luka said yesterday, sometimes I don't show it the right way. At the end of the day, I really want to win. I got to do a better job showing it a different way. The floor is yours, Rick.
So this is I thought the Mavs would win because Luka has won championships before, which I could not say about the Boston Celtics. They've been choke artists in the postseason. And Luka has demonstrated since he was a teenager, I can win championships. Now, the difference is and what I did not consider, the EuroLeague is not as long. The playoffs are not as long. The athleticism, he's never faced this kind of grind to win a championship. But all that said, look at how Kyrie has dealt with the referees. Look at how Drew Holiday has dealt with the referees. Look at how every other great player in this series has dealt with the referees. These are the best referees in the NBA. And Luka is dismissive and challenging every single call and mocking them. Now, if you're looking for 50-50 calls, which I could make a case, both of the last 2 fouls could have gone the other way. And we would be having a conversation about, there goes Jaylen Brown again, recklessly driving, losing the ball, fouling, et cetera, et cetera. But these are 50-50 calls, and he's been hammering the referees all game long. Do you think you're going to get the benefit of the doubt?
No.
Be smarter about what you're facing. And he hasn't been that, and I'm sure he's going to learn that lesson. We've seen him in this playoffs. There was one game, I forget which one it was, where he was so nice to the referees. And you know what? He got a really good whistle.
I think it was the game after he got a technical, remember? And it was a big story.
Yes.
I think OKC maybe.
Yes, he's patting them on the back. He's clapping when they got good calls.
So Luka's
what
my
happened
guy.
To that, Luka?
I'm going to try to defend a lot. I think there's a lot of stuff to crush him on. You said, look at how Kyrie and Drew Holiday have treated officials. They're in their 30s. They're veterans.
Yeah.
Luka's still a young guy.
But that's not how we thought of him coming in here. We've always talked about his game and his approach and his understanding of the game being wiser than his years, right? Yeah, he's only 25 years old. He's acted like a 20-year-old in this series, which has surprised me. I think the reason, and I give credit to the Boston Celtics, they have made this game more difficult on him than anything that he's ever faced. He's mentally and physically fatigued. He cannot impact the game the way he's used to impacting it, and that has him frustrated to a level where he's acting out. Yeah. I get all of it, but if you're asking me why the Mavs are where they are or whether he's blown this chance to win a championship, I would say no. He's been exposed as not being an NBA championship caliber player yet. He's got to get in better shape. He's got to play better D, and he's got to understand how you treat referees in order to get a good whistle. They're human nature.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the best referees that the NBA has, and he's mocking them. What do you expect? You're not, like, chances are any 50-50 call is not going to go your way. No. And that's the position he's put himself
in. So we'll
in.
wrap up with Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry. I know some people are out on the Caitlin Clark story, but it keeps getting more interesting. Yesterday, before a game in which he later played poorly in, the media is basically asking her to solve racism in this country with, hey, are you going to step up and help out the rest of the league? They're headhunting you, but can you kind of defend them in these culture wars on social media? I thought Clark handled it great. I see you've got a grin. Go ahead, Rick. Come on.
I just laughed. The reporter says, I know you just want to focus on basketball. And then asks the question that has nothing to do with basketball. Like the audacity of, I know you don't want to talk about this, but I'm going to ask you to talk about this. Look, there's no way to treat her fairly. The only people that are treating her fairly are the WNBA players. Because you're coming in and everybody has said you are all that. And if I'm a WNBA player and everybody's saying you're going to take over this league, I've already been here. I've already been playing. Like, you're going to have to show me. And this how she's being treated by WNBA players is no different than any great player coming into the league. They all get tested, and particularly when they're a skilled player and they're not very strong, what are you going to do? You're going to be physical with them. That's just the nature of the game. It's not headhunting or any of that. So, look, we can't treat her fairly because we've never had a player that's had her popularity coming into the league. And so they're going to be missteps. They're figuring it out as they go. And
like LeBron didn't wade into social issues when he was 22.
Michael
Jordan didn't.
Nor were we asking him.
Yeah.
But now we ask him all the time, and that's not fair. Like,
it's not. Anyways,
it's where
Ric
we are.
Bucher, great
it's the
stuff.
media's fault.
Yeah, blame the media,
us.
not us. Blame the media.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Well, you mean that media?
Yeah,
you can blame all of us.